Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables. Today I am here to share a book haul and I have a lot of books. I have bought a lot of books, like a lot. Like I'm kind of ashamed of myself, but also kind of not. Some I have got sent from publishers, so that's enough of intro because there's a lot of books. So I'm going to start with the stack of books I bought. I want to say I bought like 10 or 12, which is a lot for me in a span of a few months because I just don't buy as many. Some of them I have read. The majority of them I have not. They're no order. So the first up, one I have read, Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I have read this. I enjoyed it. It's all about a character named Brianna who is a doctor. She's an ER doctor and she's up for like to be the chief of ER. And this new doctor comes in named Dr. Jacob and he kind of is also vying for the position and she doesn't like it, but then they become friends. There's a lot of things going on in this book. There's like fake dating. Her brother is also really sick. He needs like a kidney transplant and and Brianna's also going through a very difficult divorce. So there's like a lot of things in this book. Always write such very strong romances that are really soft and adorable and sweet, but also with a lot of really in-depth things that I really enjoy that she talks about because I love them. So this was definitely a great one. I really enjoyed it. Would recommend it. The next one I have not read, and that is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. I got this because it was really hyped last year. I believe it's going to be a show or a movie very, very soon, which am I the best at keeping up with that stuff? Absolutely not. But either way, this one takes place in the 60s, and I don't do the best with historical fiction, but I want to try. And it's about a chemist named Elizabeth who is doing great. Life takes an unexpected turn for Elizabeth. She finds herself to be a single mother and the reluctant star of America's most beloved cooking show, Supper at 6. Elizabeth's unusual approach to cooking proves revolutionary, but as her following grows, not everyone is happy because it turns out Elizabeth isn't just teaching women to cook, she's daring them to change the status quo. And back then, it was like the norm that that's what a wife does. Wife working, wife having a career, wife being a single mother was kind of out of the question. So I'm very excited to read it for that regard. I don't know too much about it as far as like what other people think, so we'll have to see. One I have read that I probably will be unhauling soon is The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. This because the plot sounded really interesting to me and my library didn't have the hold available and I was like, I'll just buy it. Probably shouldn't have bought it. Either way, this is a thriller book and it's about one character in particular, Cassidy, and she's a part of this group of survivors where they were in high school. They survived this really brutal like kind of car accident and every year they get together and go to the Outer Banks, which I also want to read because I go to the Outer Banks a lot myself. I frequent there a lot and they pretty much just not celebrate the anniversary but just kind of keep tabs on everyone, and Cassidy kind of wants out of this group, but then things start happening this year and she doesn't go on the trip. She doesn't want to go on the trip but she ends up going, and overall it was just honestly blasé. Like nothing happened. Nothing. Next two books I bought were also because I've been hearing a lot of things about them. Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld. I would take the sticker off, but I'm also freaking nervous too. This one takes place, it's like it's about a character that's a sketch writer for the Night Owls, aka SNL, and I think she falls for one of the hosts, an actor, or not an actor, a boy band guy turned into an actor, I think. But I've heard really great things about it, and yeah, I've heard mixed things about this, but I'm always interested, especially if a book calls itself romantic comedy as the title. I hope it delivers because as a huge fan of romantic comedies, like that is 90% of my favorite movies, you best live up to that expectation. Then we have a fantasy, which I think this is fantasy. Oh my gosh, I could be eating my words. But either way, the cover drew me in, and then I heard a lot of people talk about it. Wayward by Amelia Hart, but the cover, chef's kiss, beautiful. This one is, okay, I remember now. It maybe is not a fantasy, but also, I don't know. Bear with me. It starts off 2019. Kate flees London for ramshackle Wayward cottage inherited from a great aunt she knows. But she soon suspects her great aunt had a secret, one that lurks in the bones of the cottage. 1619. Atha is waiting for trial of the murder of a local farmer who was stampeded to death by his herd. When Atha was a girl, her mother taught her their magic, a kind not rooted in spellcasting but in a deep knowledge of the natural world. Then we go into 1942. Violet is trapped in her family's grand crumbling estate. Then she decides to, she longs for the robust education her brother receives, and her mother, long deceased, was rumored to have gone mad before her death. The only traces Violet has of her are a locket bearing the initial W and the word Wayward scratched in the baseboard of her bedroom. Weaving together the story of 3 extraordinary women across 5 centuries, Wayward is an astonishing debut and a enthralling novel of female resilience. So it sounds freaking awesome, like magical, but also historical. And it's pretty short. Like, it's only, how many pages are you? Like, only like 320 pages. Like, I really want to read this soon. The indie romance that I read last month, and I loved it so much I had to buy a physical copy, and that is In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. I love this book. It was the first indie romance I've given a 5 out of 5 to. This is about a character named Shay who, at the beginning of this book, she is about to get married, and then her groom pieces out. She is a jilted bride, and then weeks later, she learns that she now is the owner of like her step grandmother's estate called Twin Tulips. I forget where exactly it is. It's like a farm. And so she has a year to decide if she wants it or not, but there's stipulations to it. She has to be married, and I forget the other rule, which I feel like that's always like in books, like there's a stipulation of like, you have to be engaged, you have to be married. I'm like, is this real? Like, is this legally bounding? Can we do this to people? But I don't know. Either way, she runs into Noah, who she went to high school with there, and he's like, you know what, I'll marry you. You know, I could use some land because I have a farm too, and you know, it's just gonna be on paper, nothing real. He's also the guardian and like kind of the dad to his niece, who is 7 years old, I believe. And it's just a small town, amazing book that I loved. Yes, it is long, but I loved it. Highly recommend. Definitely check it out. Then I have Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This will be my first Kennedy Ryan book. I've heard literally nothing but good things about this book. It's an emotional tearjerker about a marriage that it's about a couple that gets divorced, and then I think they start to realize that they don't want to let each other go. It's hot, it's illicit, it's all good until old wounds reopen. Is it too late for them to find forever, or could they even be better the second time around? You know, this is a family that has broken up. They have kids involved, so it's very tricky with that. But also when you have kids involved and you have a lot of roots, those roots go deep. So it sounds like it's going to be amazing. Then I have 2 more I've bought. That's right, I've bought this many. If you can't believe it, neither can I. Adult Assembly Required by Abby Waxman. She also wrote The Bookish Life of Nina Hill, which I read. It was cute. I didn't love it. This is about a character named Laura who moves to Los Angeles, and she finds herself adopted by a friendly but unusual bunch of folks installed in their new, lovely but illegal boarding house. And then she gets into like this trivia team, and it's just like, I would kind of compare Abby Waxman's books to kind of like women's fiction, not a lot of romance, but more just of a character development and kind of heartwarming and things like that. The last book I bought is The Maid's Diary by Loris Ann White. I have read one other book by her. I forgot the title of it. I want to say Beneath the Devil's Bridge, and I thought it was okay, but I really wanted to check this one out. This is about a maid who has a snooping problem, and basically I think what happens is the couple dies or something that she's working for. It sounds interesting. I know a lot of people have been talking about Frida McFarlane's The Maid book, but this one sounds a little more interesting to me, so we'll have to see. Then the rest of the books I have are from publishers, so I'll try to go through those somewhat quickly. From Scholastic Press, I have Solitaire by Alice Oseman. This is a YA book, I believe, which I don't read a lot anymore, but I do like Alice Oseman a lot. This is about a character named Tori who likes to be alone all the time, and then she sees a random post-it note leads her to a trail left by someone going by the name Solitaire, and the person behind it wants to disrupt the school, even if it means disrupting Tori's life and all the process. And I think basically like she, I don't know, contacts this guy. I'm not sure. Not 100%, either way. Nanny by Lana Ferguson. I love the blurb on this. This book is like if Allie Hazelwood and Tessa Bailey had a spicy baby. I devoured every page and was sad to see it end, by Ruby Dix. And I've read all 3 of these authors that she talked about. So this one is about a character named Cassie who is going to be a nanny, and she also has an OnlyFans page, and the girl that she's nannying's dad is like one of her biggest fans. So when I say this book is steamy, I'm pretty sure like it's real steamy, and I've heard a lot of people talk about it. So we'll have to see if I read it or not. Then we have Kailand by Mia Sheridan. It's an author I've heard of a lot. I don't know if this is a part of a series or not, but this is about a character named Kailand who struggles each day to survive in the poor mining town she has, and she gets a scholarship. I think it's about two people that are kind of competing for the same scholarship. Then one moment changes everything. Kailand and Kailand find themselves turning from strangers to friends, then tipping dangerously close to love. They're both determined not to form any lasting attachment. The longer they're together, the more hopeless it seems. Only one of them gets to win, only one of them gets to leave this town, and when that day comes, what will happen to the one left behind? So, what other books has she written? Oh, it's all right here. Oh, she's written Grayson's Vow, I've heard that. Travis, Kailand. Oh, okay. We'll have to see. Look, it says strangers to friends to lovers, time jump, bonding over books, second chance romance, teenage rivals, Appalachian Mountains. That's pretty cool. Then from Berkeley, so kindly sent me a finished copy of Happy Place. I love this book. This book is getting very mixed reviews on it. I've heard either you love it or you hate it. I fall in the love it category, but I think it was just a lot with my age right now and where I'm at in my life, because this book follows a character named Harriet who is, it's basically like a second chance romance, also with a lot of friends involved, and she's at her mid-30s where it's a really big friendship, but also like it's kind of drifting apart. And so I felt that a lot, like on a personal level, so I think that's why I connected with it so much, is because I felt for a lot of these characters I was going through the same thing. So I think that's why I loved it so much. I guess it's controversial if you like it or not. I guess it's, you know, you have to let me know. Maybe I'm one of the very few who loves it, but I truly did love it from start to finish. Like, I devoured it. It's probably my favorite Emily Henry book, which I know I feel like it's controversial to say because not a lot of people are enjoying it, but I freaking devoured it. We have from Avon, Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey. This is the sequel to her Secretly Yours book that came out only a few months ago, and I did not like that one that much. I was like, oh, not good. But I really enjoyed this one. And spoiler warning, it's about the main character's sister in this book, Natalie, and basically a fake marriage happens. Hate to love. I loved it. So steamy. The chemistry was there, because my main complaint with the first book in the series is that there was no real chemistry between the main characters, but man, it was there, more than made up for it, I will say. Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. This is her newest book. I'm sure you've heard of her big hit that came out last year called Every Last Summer. I liked it. As the more time goes on, I don't think I love it as much as I said I did, but I am, as of filming right now, in the middle of reading this, and I'm liking it, not loving it, so we'll have to see how it goes. It's about a character named Fern who, it takes place in two different timelines. She's now 33, her mother has passed away, and her mother owns this resort. Kind of think of the Dirty Dancing resort, where it's kind of like a lake resort. People stay for months at a time rather than nights, and she has to decide whether or not she wants to sell this resort. And who should come in to help her is this guy named Will, who is a kind of consultant, and they have a past. They met 10 years ago, and they had an amazing day together, and they promised each other that they would meet each other back at the lake 1 year later, only Will never showed up. So we go back in time to see what happened on that day, and then also have what's going on with them now. And so it's like kind of like a second chance romance. It's okay right now, I'll say that. Then I have Summer Reading by Jen McKinley. I've read a few of her books. All I know about this one is when a woman who'd rather do anything than read meets a swoon-worthy bookworm, sparks fly, making for one hot summer fling. And that's all I need to know. It takes place in Martha's Vineyard, and it's about the guy that's a bookworm. It's usually the opposite, so I'm ready for it. Two books I can tell you I don't know much about. Mrs. Nash's Ashes by Sarah Adler. This one seems like it's going to be sad. It's two love stories, decades apart, one chance to prove love is worth the ride. So it's about a character named Millicent, how do you say that name? She's on a mission. She promised her elderly best friend that she reunite her with the woman she fell in love with nearly 80 years ago. She never imagined that would mean traveling from D.C. to Key West with 3 tablespoons and Mrs. Nash remains in her pocket. And then she has a travel companion, so things happen, and I guess, I don't know. I don't know much about it. When I saw it, it didn't really appeal to me, so maybe I need to do some research on it. I don't know. And the last book I have is Kiss the Sky by Krista and Becca Ritchie. Another book that I have not a clue about. A virgin ice queen heiress and the arrogant god who wants to melt her. What? Rose Calloway thought she had everything under control. At 23, she's a Princeton graduate, an academic bowl champion, a fashion designer, and the daughter of a Fortune 500 mogul. Not everything comes easy. What? Like, okay. When Rose's fashion line is apparel, she plans an unconventional solution to save it. Make matters more intense, she agrees to be in a relationship with her godly college rival, Connor. At 24, Connor bulldozes weak men. Confident and smart as hell, Connor vows to help Rose outside and inside the bedroom. Melting this ice queen is a challenge no one has been able to succeed at, and now they're living together. Like, why? I don't understand why he's godly. Why does that? I don't get what that means. And why is, like, they're saying that not everything comes easy for her. She's the daughter of a Fortune 500 mogul, whatever that is, and she's a Princeton graduate, an academic bowl champion. Like, she sounds like she's a hard worker, but I don't know. This one, I gotta be honest. Usually when I read the back of things, I'm not like, This one, I'm kind of like, If you heard about it, let me know. There you have all of the books. I bought a lot of books, and sad to say, I have no more room in my cart. So fun times. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you've heard any of these books, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on them. And thank you for watching. Did I say that already? Probably did. But either way, bye.